but most of the time it's just, general stuff like, when we've thrown it 25 times in a row, might be a good idea. Get on there. Hey, that was the 25th pass in a row, and it might serve us well. To
is that what you
run
say?
The fucking ball.
Yeah, I was about to say, sounded like a pretty casual line. Just looking at the stats here, Pep. All right, we have Bruce. We've thrown the ball 25. Is there any way we could potentially fucking run the ball? That would be. That's those moments on the sideline that get spotlighted in negative fashion. For instance, who was it? Allen and Payne, I think, for the Washington football team, where an actual punch was thrown, and both guys afterwards were like, "Hey, it's in the heat of the moment." That type of stuff happens. The amount of disagreements that happen on a sideline in a competitive atmosphere like the NFL, I don't think is understood by the massive amount of people. Obviously, everybody wants to be in harmony. Everybody wants good things to happen. But in the heat of the moment, when there's a lot of ideas, how do you kind of control that and understand it could potentially come for your team? But also, let's not promote this. We don't want this happening every single day.
No, absolutely. And watching that thing happen, I mean, that happens a bunch. And that. And can you only imagine if, they could make public 60 minutes, during a ball game, the headsets. Oh. Can you imagine if they would record those and actually let, somebody, Joe Public listen to some of the things that are said on those things? That would be incredible, because it does get heated. Things are, they go back and forth, player to coach to player, coach to coach, head coach to assistant coach. I mean, that's just part of it. And yeah, in the heat of the battle, especially with, playoff implications, job security, a lot of other shit comes into play. Players, they're on contract years, maybe not, having the game that they want to have, the season they want to have, getting a lot of heat at home. Why ain't they feeding you the ball? So a lot of stuff starts to come out, especially, when adversity hits. And that's where, always got to have, cooler heads, prevail. And hopefully, somebody, down there that's got a cool head. That's what I love about, watching Frank. I don't think, you guys ever seen Frank, get sideways on the sideline? I see him get fired up sometimes, after big wins and stuff in the locker room. But I always see him pretty cool, regardless of the circumstances. And to me, to have that, that calming force, if you will, when stuff gets sideways, and can bring everybody back to, here's the task at hand. Let's understand that. I understand this, but, we can't be throwing hands on the sideline with each. Plus, it's a bad look. It's bad enough you just got 56 put on you, and now you got two players throwing hands, on the sideline. I mean, it happened to us at Cincinnati, when I was at Cleveland, 2004. And things are going sideways, and they're talking about Coach Davis getting let go, and they I think we lost 56-46 in that game down at Cincy that day, and we had two coaches go at it on the sideline, and as soon as that happens, then it's like, okay, this thing's done. We got no more control over anything. And the next day, sure enough, Butch is in there, saying goodbye to the team. They named the interim coach. Terry Rafisky was going to be the interim coach for the last month of the season, and that was a wrap. So yeah. Some crazy stuff.
What do you say to your team? Like, if you were the head coach of a team and you had a couple assistants fighting during a game that was public for everybody to see, I guess, let's say it's a different scenario and you're the head coach and you still have your job the next morning. What do you say in the team meeting to those guys?
Yeah, that's a good one, because you talk, ad nauseum about keeping your cool, stay together, being under control. You got to keep your head. We can't have any bad penalties. You can't be the second guy. You can't retaliate, all this stuff. And then, when something like that happens, it's really hard to get up, in front of those guys and say, what the hell happened. And, I don't, that's why I'm glad I wasn't on that sideline or, coach anymore. I got to go in front of a group and I think those guys get it, AJ. I mean, you've been down there, Pat's been down there. You understand, in certain situations that stuff's going to happen. There's going to be some words, some conversations that get a little bit heated, some not so nice things, said, but hopefully the relationship is strong enough between whoever it was and the group that you can come together and team meet and say, okay, look, this is totally out of line. This is what happened. You good, yeah, we're good, and then you move on.
It kind of puts a bow on the entire thing I've been talking about for the first half of this week and getting attacked for almost, is you can disagree with people and move on. And I think football locker rooms taught me that more than anywhere else, let alone the competitive on why or strategy or potentially outcome or benefits that one person's either getting or not getting, and that could be it. But also there could be just a disagreement about philosophy in the middle of the game that could potentially come up, and two people can look at each other and say, you're an idiot, I don't agree with you, and then guess what? There's another play happening that we can fucking lose about. Like you just got to kind of move on. I wish the world would do a little bit more of that. Hopefully we'll see that day, and we can't thank you enough for joining us, Chuck. You're the fucking man.